Introduction to Storage Auctions webinar is January 17th, which is Tuesday. If you want to sign up, it's below. You just have to hit that little tab and it expands, and there's a lot of stuff in there. Sometimes people are like shocked. I never knew this stuff was here. Well, now you know. Also, subscribe, comment, and share. And please leave a smart ass comment because I love them so much. Some of y'all really crack me up. Alright, in this video I'm going to talk about collectibles, sports memorabilia, and antiques. There's a lot of emphasis on that type of stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous how much emphasis is on something that you're going to come across maybe 10% to 30% of the time, depending on how much stuff you buy. So you're predicating 100% of your expectations, hopes, and dreams on a very small amount of stuff that you're going to come across. And it's kind of crazy, and it's almost like it's ass backwards. The things that you're going to make money on consistently, people don't really seem to be interested in. Let me share something with you. When I was brand new to the game, and I used to ask a lot of questions, once the old heads started talking to me, there was a salient truth that emerged, that many of them still had some of their first storage auction, memorabilia, collectibles. Most of them still had a lot of that stuff, and I was just like, why? And you hear the whole thing, it's like, well, I couldn't get what I wanted, and I know it's just going to go up in value, and no, it's not. The advent of eBay and other online portals drastically reduced the profitability of antiques, collectibles, and memorabilia. Certain things will always be expensive, but they're rare. That's not going to be the lion's share of what you're going to find out there. It's going to be what many would call a hidden jewel or an occasional occurrence. Or if you're really good, you're going to get that stuff every month, but you guarantee you're going to have your nose to the grindstone. You're going to be out there hunting much harder than the average storage auction hound picker or what have you. And the reality is, just for me, that antiques, memorabilia, collectibles, that market is not dead, but it's got an oxygen tank. It's walking around like your uncle that was smoking like 3 packs of cigarettes a day. That's that market. There's still viability in it. You can still make money, but it's not as rich and wonderful as it used to be. It wasn't even like that 8 years ago. So you can only imagine what it is now. Like baseball cards, football cards, trophies, rings. That stuff's got to be top notch, because what started this is there's this guy in New York. He got a unit of this ex-Syracuse college hoopster. And I was just like, and I looked at the name, and first thing in my mind was, who's that guy? Which means there's no money. They're trying to reach out to him, and hopefully he'll pay X amount of dollars to get his stuff back. And I'm just like, dude paid, a grip. He paid like almost $5K for the unit, which lets me know there was some other stuff going on. Long time ago, I went to an auction, and the manager was like, "Psst, come here, let me talk to you for a minute." And I'm like, she was fine, right? I was like, is this my chance? But no, it was not. This unit right here. And she wrote down the unit number on a sheet of paper, and she pointed her little manicured fingernail. This unit right here, this guy, he played for the Atlanta Hawks. Just letting you know. Bet, right? I'm just like this. I got my big spoon, and I'm just scooping up the okie doke. I'm just like, I'm just going to town. I'm like, yeah, man. Then it gets better. There's only 4 people that show up for the auction, and only 3 of us bid. And I'm like, understand, I'm okie doke, man. I'm eating it up, and I'm like, the door goes up. It's a 10 by 10. There's this nice NASCAR Formula One go-kart, 3 dinosaur big screen televisions, and some other furniture, but it's kind of half empty. But it's a former Atlanta Hawks basketball player, not star, basketball player. So, I'm right there, and then all of a sudden, I start sneezing. Achoo, achoo, and the okie doke just comes out of me, and I'm like, psh, I wake my ass up. I'm at $1,600 on a 10 by 10, and I am well beyond my parameters. I'm like, what? And I like left skid marks and everything in the parking lot because that's how fast I stopped. But the other two, they kept going. And I looked at Snowball and I was like, are you out of your freaking mind? You know it's not in there. You could see, but the one with the little manicure fingernail, she told all of us the same thing. And what did we do? Just duking it out. There's only 3 people bidding. Long story short, Snowball gets it and he promptly loses $3,000. That's how bad that unit was. The TVs didn't work. The go-kart was worth some money, but there wasn't shit in there. And it taught me something. I took that experience with what everyone had told me, and I realized that the collectibles, the memorabilia market is not that hot for most things. That's not to say that you're not going to come across something that's going to be super hot and it's going to make you a lot of money. What it is to say is it's going to be very rare. And you hear about the wow factor and this ooh-wee stuff, the ooh-wee. That stuff when you open up the box, it's like, ooh-wee, you're like, hot damn. That stuff's nice, but the lion's share of your money is going to come from regular old stuff. If you know what you're doing. You don't hear people talking about, like, I bought a unit, door opened up, there's a commercial freezer, there's some other stuff, there's some server racks, and some weird machines, which later on I found out to be vending machines, which were great because they were not owned by Coca-Cola or Pepsi. They were these pretty modern ones. And long story short, I bought the unit for $350. I sold the freezer, the commercial freezer, which was going brand new for 10 G's. I sold for 4. The little vending machines, $1,300 a piece. The server racks, $1,000. And people were like, and there was one guy, he knew what the freezer was worth. That's why he was bidding. He just didn't have enough money. But the other stuff, he had no clue. I see this all the time because people like collectibles, memorabilia. That market is like $285 at 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday here in Atlanta. It is a crowded place. So to be successful, let that go. Stop predicating your hopes and desires on finding that wonderful wild collectible. Because unless it's a Joe Montana Super Bowl ring or a Michael Jordan NBA championship ring or University of Alabama, it's got to be something relevant. It's got to be a team that has a certain philosophy, or you're just not going to make any money. That's the reality of it. You're not going to make any money. If you look at Dwayne's videos, Dwayne is a hustler. Dwayne spends an extraordinary amount of time out there searching. That's all he does, is the antique collectibles. That's all he does. And he spends an incredible amount of time looking, and that's why he's successful. If you're a storage auction buyer, the best piece of advice that I could give to you is learn how to sell any and everything. Because this is what I saw. A lot of people, and this one guy in particular, he was like Barry, except he didn't have Barry's money. And he was looking for the odd stuff, and he was looking for the collectible stuff. And he would buy, for every 20 to 30 units I would buy, he'd buy 1. But we were out on the auction trail just as hard. So essentially, he was wasting a great deal of his time. You have to understand, when you get in your car, you turn on the key and you press the accelerator, you are burning money. Every time you do that, you are burning money. It's not free. Gas, wear and tear on your car, that all adds up. So he was out there probably 80% of the time doing nothing but observing, and I was buying. You got to buy to have something to sell. I know it sounds very, very simple, but a lot of people don't get that. It's like, I'm going to come out here and I'm just trying to dip my big toe in there. You can dip your big toe all day long, but unless you buy something, you will have nothing to sell. And unless you buy something, you're really not going to learn this business. You're going to have to go out there and take a few chances. But you don't have to bet the farm on that little antique box that you think is from the 1920s, but it was actually made in China 2 years ago. Ease into it and understand what I'm telling you. You'll make far more money selling things that people need. During that period of discovery, when I noticed that all these cats still had all these collectibles, and my own experience, because the first unit that I bought had well over 4,000 baseball cards in it. And I was just like, I'm happy. I'm going to the bank, doing the happy dance. Understand, a white guy taught me the happy dance. For all you white guys out there, it's like, I don't know how to do the happy dance. It's not like the football, it's not like the touchdown shuffle. It's just, whatever makes you happy, do your jig. And I'm doing the happy dance and everything. And 6 months later, I still had all of those cards. You want to know why? Because not one was worth anything. Collectively, the whole collection may have gotten me 80, 100 bucks. Maybe if I wanted to put it up on eBay, take a lot of pictures, answer a ton of questions. Eventually, I traded the cards with another storage auction house because I was like, look, there's nothing really nice in there. And he's like, I just like the cards. So he traded me a sofa set for those cards. I made 500 bucks. He got the cards. Actually, I think I came out much better on the deal than he did. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. Stop going for the wow factor. You can find value from this simple equation. If you can make 2 to 3 times more than what you spent for the unit, it was a great unit. If you can make 10 times more than you spent for the unit, it was a fantastic unit. If you make 100 times more than you spent for the unit, it's a jackpot unit. Notice I didn't say what was in there. No, it's about its simple value. If you get it for little or nothing or really cheap, and you can make 2 to 3 times your money, which is average, was average for me. Because this whole notion of, you hear this thing like in auction hunters, they're talking about they take a loss on 80% of their units. I'm here to tell you, if I was losing on 80% of the units that I got, and when I started this business, I was bad, I wouldn't have stayed in it. 80% failure rate? What industry do you know that is acceptable? I know of no industry. As I got better, I was making money, and understand the profit wasn't always significant, but there was nevertheless a profit on 90% of the units I bought. 90%. Sometimes I would see a great unit. I knew there was money in there and potentially some ooey stuff, but got past my point and I let it go because we'd enter into the red zone where if this stuff wasn't perfect, if this stuff wasn't immaculate, if this stuff wasn't great, there was going to be one definite outcome: me losing money. And sometimes, I hang around after the auction and everything, and I see them pull stuff out, and I see the sofa's missing cushions, I see the sofa's got a rip, I see the leather's got a rip. All that stuff kills your sales price. It may look wonderful in the unit, but when you drag it out into the stark reality of daylight, the truth becomes very evident. And I've seen a lot of units that look good in that darkness in that corner, but you pull that stuff out, you're like, man, give me a break. It's happened to me. Then I go in the back and I pull out some gold or something, and then it's all nice. But understand, don't get caught up in the collectible antique memorabilia trap. If that's your business, then you know that you need to go to other places to get that stuff, because you could be out a whole week at storage auctions and not see one unit that contains any of that stuff. You could be out a whole month and not see one unit that contains any of that stuff. So that's one of the things. I bought a unit that was full of brand new truck tires. I mean, I'm talking about the ones that are about this high up on me. And it was like, what the hell? There was very few people there, about 15, 20. Nobody really wanted to do the work because they look like tires, but you didn't know they were new until you got in there and you saw the little titties sticking up on them. And I got the unit for 25 bucks. I didn't know a freaking semi-tire was anywhere from 200 to 500 bucks. Man, those things went in 2 weeks. I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. It wasn't sexy, but it was profitable. Get away from the sexy stuff. There's a lot of industries where people make a killer amount of money, but they're not, the thing to talk about at the cocktail party. It was like, yes, I move trash for a living. Not exciting, but you make a grip. Oh yeah, we actually separate oil. We separate the base we separate proteins, whatever. There's a lot of stuff that's not sexy that makes money. And, just keep that at the forefront of your mind. When you're out there, your goal is not the wow factor. It's not to get collectibles. Your goal is to get a unit that you can make significantly more money than you spent. That is your goal. I've been next to people who are like all day. It's like, yeah, I'm looking for collectibles. Oh, I'm looking for this. And I'm just laughing because you ain't going to get shit. And also, you told me what you're looking for, so when I see it, I want to run you real hard to flush your money so you won't be in my way the rest of the day. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. So, hopefully you could take this information and apply it to your business, because the collectible market is just really rough. It's not to say it's not profitable, but it's not as profitable as it used to be, and it's very challenging. And also, this stuff has to be immaculate. It has to be perfect. You can't have any creases, discoloration, water. If it's not in a protector, it's already at a disadvantage. Especially when we're talking about coins. Unless it's super, super rare and it doesn't matter if it's got tarnish and stuff on it, oxidation, it's a wrap from jump. You've lost 50% of your value just like that. So understand, when you do get this stuff, treat it like it's an egg. I'm serious. If you get some cards or something, you see it and it's not creased, find a book, wrap some tissue around it, put that sucker in the book. I'm telling you, any little curl. I had a card that was worth about $450, but because it had a curl and there was like a little separation at the corner, guys, like $150 best. Little bitty curl. Just a little bitty, just a little bitty. So that's the deal. Don't be lulled into that, and understand that to be successful in this business long term, you're going to have to be able to learn how to sell any and everything. All right, this is Glendon, and